Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about economics and crypto and lots of other fun things. In today's video, I have something really interesting for you, and I don't want to quite communicate some level of mixed signals, but more of a mindset of what we're seeing with Bitcoin right now is on chain, not much of a reason to be bullish, but just kind of like this, there's something else going on. And actually, so if we were to compare this to the metrics that I want to show you to 2021 or 2017, we would have every reason to be bearish or at least kind of mixed. But right now, I would say that things are actually quite different than what we're seeing in 2021 or what we saw in 2021 and 2017 with an entirely different set of data. And so let's just go ahead and get on into this real quick. And I'm going to show a lot of charts from Glassnode, a lot of their on-chain analytics data. So we have from Glassnode here, Bitcoin remains range bound between 100 and 110K. Profit taking cools, volume fades, and futures show signs of caution. What would it take for Bitcoin to break out from this trend? Read more in the latest week on chain. You can go to glassnode.com and read more. But I'm going to show you a few charts here. First, we have short-term holder cost basis, 98.4K. Does that number sound familiar? And so that is exactly where we bounced on Sunday, was just where is the break-even point for short-term holders? And you can see we bounced off that perfectly. I mean, there's several other times that we were just when we deviate from that line and then we get back to it, that tends to act as support. But then some other things here. So total transfer volume, you can just see a downtrend in total transfer volume. So significant upticks in total transfer volume when things get hot. That move up to $74,000 before the halving, and then a move back down. That move up to $108,000 before the new year, and then a move down. We didn't really see all that much of a spike in transfer volume this time on the move to 112, and then we are down now 36% from that peak. And so does that communicate to you that here we are, we're going to go blast off to new all-time highs? I don't know. But let's just stay tuned a little bit more. So we have futures volume, same deal. Significant spikes up in futures volume during times of excitement and significant moves down when we should be a little bit more cautious. And again, big peak in November going into December. So far, this move up to a new all-time high with Bitcoin 112, it's kind of quiet. Obviously you can do Google search interest and all of that to see that just there's very little interest in Bitcoin, very little activity on Bitcoin. Spot volume is very low. All exchanges, spot volume, and you see, again, big spikes up in spot volume during the big run-ups, and then here we are. We hit a new all-time high, Bitcoin at 112, and we're not seeing anything similar to the end of 2024 or early 2024. And then last chart here, we have futures volume. The futures volume looks pretty much, oh wait, I think I already looked at futures volume. What's the other one here? No, that's all of it. Okay, that is everything. So I think I accidentally missed spot volume earlier. But let's move on. So we have Glassnode again. Okay, as Bitcoin attempts to reclaim $108,000, the accumulation trend score shows no unified cohort behavior. 1 to 10 Bitcoin wallets continue distributing. 10 to 100 net, Bitcoin are net accumulators. Others show mixed signals. So what do we have here? The 1 to 110 cohort and the 1K to 10K cohort are accumulating. The largest whales plus 10K, they're pretty neutral. They distributed a little bit. They're pretty neutral. The 1 to 10 Bitcoin holders, they are distributing heavily. Less than 1, very neutral. So it is what it is. We just, again, mixed signals that we're seeing with on-chain Bitcoin stuff. But I want to be clear about something. I have a couple of other things to share with you that I would say are very bullish. Okay, so when the time comes, I think we're going to be, it would make sense to be bullish. And I mean, right now I'm bullish because given all these things, we have despite all these things, the spot Bitcoin ETFs bought $500 million, another $500 million worth of Bitcoin yesterday. It's like, okay, they bought multiple times the amount of ETH mined or minted yesterday. So we're in a good spot. And that's kind of the thing that I want to point out here is, on chain does not look amazing. And yet, not that the Bitcoin ETFs are accumulating off chain, but they're accumulating. And a lot of that slips under the radar. That's how they like it. And now everything's visible on the blockchain. But this is a different dynamic than if in 2021 we were seeing the same things that I'm showing you. I wouldn't be all that excited right now, but I'm very motivated. I'm feeling good. That's, anything can happen over the next week or so, but on a long enough timeline, it makes sense to be bullish. Now, we have another thing from Glassnode, last one from Glassnode, long-term holder spending. So this is actually good. This is a reason contributing to the fact that we're not seeing all that negative price action, despite the fact that Bitcoin went up from 98,000 to 108,000 within a few days. So Bitcoin long-term holder spending binary indicator shows minimal spending for the first time since June 10th. So that was 17 days ago. With long-term holder supply near all-time highs, it signals continued conviction. Seasoned investors remain reluctant to distribute despite recent market volatility. And so long-term holder supply, the orange line, rising dramatically. Took a little bit of a dip of recent, but long-term holder cost basis is just kind of just hanging around. And then spending, you can see just very minimal spending, the red line there. It's pretty much flat. And so this is consistent. This chart is consistent with the last tweet you see by the cohorts here. You can see just, conviction or just kind of middle of the range aside from the 1 to 10 Bitcoin cohort. So anyway, moving on. Now, mega bullish stuff. All right, let's be clear. I want to be clear with you. There are some mega bullish things. And we have I've seen this. All right, I have no idea who Donnie Dicey is, but I've seen this chart float around all over the place. This is the correlation with the total altcoin market cap and Coinbase's stock. Coinbase's stock, I don't know if it was a new all-time high, but it hit a new cycle peak recently in July. And so $355, Coinbase has shot off aggressively. Just look at the correlation. Now, this is altcoins. Look at the correlation between altcoins and Coinbase. Now, this is a reason why, if you pay attention to my $200 to $1 million challenge videos, it's like I opened some shorts throughout the week and I did not do all that great on those shorts. I am currently in a short on Fartcoin, of all coins, of all cryptos, but and that's my only short, my only position that's open. But I'm scared to short. This is just how I feel right now. And a lot of people don't share my fears. What we're seeing is a lot of aggressive shorting going on right now, which tends to not work out when retail, when people load up on the shorts, the pain is to the upside. And this is a reason why, like, when I open a short, I watch it like a hawk. And I'm just very careful with it because what if? I wouldn't be surprised if this did correlate and we saw the altcoin market cap rise pretty aggressively over the next couple of weeks here or something like that. This is a compelling chart to look at to make a case that, yes, altcoins will rise aggressively pretty soon. And you can see, Coinbase tends to be a leading indicator here. And so what am I looking at? November after the election, Coinbase spiked, and then eventually the altcoin market cap caught up. So just keep your eyes on that. Really fascinating chart to look at. Now, I've shown you this from Decode here. I've shown it to you a decent amount of times. This is an oscillator that he created on his own, a global liquidity index with a macro trend oscillator. And here's his tweet: "Don't give up on crypto at the wrong time. The next parabola is closer than you think." And so, all right, the next parabola, we're going to go parabolic sometime soon. Yeah, maybe, sure, but just looking, I'm encouraged if you look at the arrow that he's drawn here. I mean, this oscillator is trending in the right direction. And then I mean, just look at historically what happens when it turns green. And on the other side of the previous all-time high, or at least not the previous all-time high, the previous peak, of this oscillator. So for example, in April of 2021, this oscillator peaked dark green, and that was the first peak in 2021, which I have argued for years now was the true peak of that cycle. And then the $69,000 move was just kind of a retrace that happened to hit a new all-time high. But the peak of euphoria, the peak of the excitement was in April of 2021, and you can see that according to this oscillator. December of 2021, same deal. So, a breakout from the price around that time, a back test of that, which it looks like we've hit. And now, we wait for the green to come. When the green comes on this histogram, that tends to mark a very exciting time, the beginning of the early stages really of excitement. And so if we're going to follow along with this, the peak of this cycle is most likely in 2026. And that tends to line up with what I've been thinking as far as I don't know if we have enough time left in 2025 for things to get really exciting, but give it some time and we could see some explosive moves in crypto. I just hope that people don't give up. Those who are married to this idea, it has to happen in 2025. Please don't give up, because it's most likely not going to happen in 2025 where we see this massive explosion in crypto. Now, let's move on. We have the NASDAQ, and then after that, we have the S&P 500. So a couple posts here. I'm encouraged by this, and I made a video yesterday talking about I would expect the NASDAQ from here to do something like another 40% gain. Okay, so that's where my mindset is right now. So QQQ, Golden Cross, a look at what the markets did prior times in the past 5 years. So whenever we see a Golden Cross, a move, a break of the 50-day moving, is the 50-day moving average breaking to the upside of the 200-day moving average. You can see it right here. I mean, it was a very small Golden Cross 5 years ago, but the stock market rallied significantly, the NASDAQ rallied significantly, and then in 2023, early 2023, we had another Golden Cross. The NASDAQ rallied significantly. Here we are, Golden Cross again. And NASDAQ 100 has hit a new all-time high. As of the moment I'm making this video, the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 are very close to hitting new all-time highs. So Golden Cross, what comes next? Honestly, in my opinion, another 40% move. But we'll see about that. And then, all right, Ryan Dietrich. I just want to point out, I was wrong about this. I thought that, yes, the stock market was that was the peak for 2025. And as of right now, I'm right, but literally, I mean, you could be watching this video by that time and I will have been proven wrong. So Ryan Dietrich, I saw a tweet from his way back in February where he made this point, and I was like, I think this time's going to be one of those times. So as we've noted many times this year, it is extremely rare for stocks to peak for the year in February. With the S&P 500 about 0.85% away from new all-time highs, good chance 2025 rhymes with history. So only 2 times ever has the S&P 500 between 1950 and 2024 peaked in February. It's really interesting to know that the peak 31 times of the last 74 years, the S&P 500 has peaked in December. And then, 43 times in the last 74 years, it's peaked in December or January. So here we are in June. It's never peaked in June. So, hey, that's a good sign to be holding on to your stocks at least. But February, it looked like that was going to be the peak. I thought that was going to be the peak, but nope. So maybe it's going to be the same thing this time around with the S&P 500 at least, where it will peak in January or December. So let's take a look at Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin is red today after 3 big green days. It's not a surprise at all that Bitcoin would be red today. At least I'm making this. I saw a tweet from somebody who I follow who he's calling for Bitcoin to go to about 106,000 and then get up to 109 and then dump from there. Go lower, probably not lower than 98.4. I don't remember exactly what he said. It is what it is. The red days, the green days, it's all you got to be prepared for all of that. Obviously, I'm not telling you anything new when I say that. But it makes a lot of sense, in my opinion, to be bullish on Bitcoin and on Ethereum. Bitcoin dominance continues to climb, and that's just how it is right now. Maybe at some point we will see a change on that. My money is on when quantitative easing ends, that maybe at least will be kind of ranging with Bitcoin dominance. So anyway, that's all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful rest of your week. And I will most certainly be seeing you in another video. Peace.